Good morning, great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning, outstanding morning. Yes, again, the beautiful reminder of choice that you have, I have, that we all have. And what is that choice? It's choice of thought. We get to choose what we're going to accept, what we're going to reject, what we're going to originate. And that right there is the starting point of change in your life. But see, I can mention this all day, as I do every day within every one of these calls. But if you don't actually do it, guess what will not change? The results of your life. See, it's simple. As within, so without. Your outer world is a reflection of what's happening in your inner world. Your inner world is a world of thought. That's where the kingdom of heaven is. Enter the kingdom of heaven. Imagine great things for yourself. Be loyal to a beautiful, unseen reality. And if you do, you'll begin to reap it. But see, again, this is where application comes into play. And that's actually something that we put into play when it comes to helping people to use this information. We made it the very first lesson in the program that we put together called Emergence. See, it's the golden rule. And if you don't apply, if you don't move the information around inside, then no matter what we say or no matter what anybody shares with you, it won't affect your life. It won't change anything in your life. So for that, make sure that you are using it. Now, what are we applying? Well, we're applying these truths that we're going over here in The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. And this here is a beautiful gem. If you don't have a copy of this, make sure you do get a copy of this. Get this exact copy. It's one that we've done work on to make sure that it has a special unabridged version, which is correct based from the original that Wallace Wattles wrote. And then when you do get this, mark it up, underline it, and most importantly, apply it in your life. Remember, you got to use it. All right. So, with that being said, another reminder for you is we have another emergence event happening on January 31st that we invite you to attend and also invite other people to come along to join us as well. It's going to be a wonderful, beautiful event where we're going to tie into a lot of these principles in a different way, where it's all about, again, use and ways to help you to use this information so that you can deliver change that you seek. All right, so let's go into this, shall we? Let's go into the science of getting rich where we left off. And here we're in chapter 3. And this chapter is about opportunity and whether or not it's monopolized. Now, there's a lot of people who do believe that. They believe that opportunity is monopolized, but guess what? It's not. But if you believe it is, guess what? That's all you're going to see. So in this chapter, we're going to dive deep into how Wallace Wattles explains this beautifully. Are you ready? Type in I'm ready if you're ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. So let's do this. Okay. So no man is kept poor because opportunity has been taken away from him. You're not poor if you are poor because opportunity's been taken away from you. It's not true. Because other people have monopolized wealth, no, or have put a fence around it. Now, you may be shut off from engaging in business in certain lines, but there are other channels open to you. Now, think about that. Just because one channel is closed doesn't mean that there aren't other ones available. This reminds me of something that Tony Robbins talked about, where people, when they are trying to be successful with something, and then they have this feeling of giving up, and they say, "Oh, I've tried everything." And then he asks a question and he says, "Oh, really? You've tried everything?" He goes, "Yeah, what did you try?" And then he says, every single time that question is asked, people come up with maybe 3, maybe 4 ideas, maybe 5. And he goes, "Oh, and I thought you tried everything. You just tried 5 things." And really, in truth, he actually points out how what you really tried was what didn't work out. Now, with that being said, is if you tried everything, you'd have what you want. Why? Because the solution is in everything. Now sit in that for a moment. The solution isn't everything. Now, let's go back to this because it's tied into understanding that just because you've tried something or something hasn't worked out, it doesn't mean that the door's closed. It just means you discovered what is not going to deliver the practical and workable solution to give you the outcome you seek. Now, let's read this again. You may be shut off from engaging in business in certain lines, but there are other channels open to you. Probably it would be hard for you to get control of any of the great railroad systems. Now, remember, this was written in the early 1900s. That field is pretty well monopolized, but the electric railway business is still in its infancy and offers plenty of scope for enterprise. And it will be but a few years until traffic and transportation through the air will become a great industry and in all its branches will give employment to hundreds of thousands and perhaps millions of people. Why not turn our attention to the development of aerial transportation instead of competing with J.J. Hill and others for a chance in the steam railway world? Now think about that. He's saying pay attention to the change. The more change there is, the more opportunity there is. Now, with that, my question for you is, how much changes are happening right now? Is it a lot? Of course it is. There is more change happening today than at any time in the history or the recorded history of humankind. Now, why is that true when it comes to this change? Well, because we have paradigms that got to be shifted to adapt to these changes because these changes are happening regardless of whether or not you want them to. Change is inevitable. See, it's those who learn and adapt to that change, who inherit the earth, who get rich, while the learned, those who stay locked into, oh, this is the only way, or from the other way of thinking, see, those people find themselves beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists. Now, again, really think about that for you. If you're stuck and you're feeling that it's, that opportunity's not there, I got news for you. You're living in the past. Don't go there. Now, it is quite true that if you are a workman in the employ of the Steel Trust, you have very little chance of becoming the owner of the plant in which you will work. But it is also true that if you commence to act in a certain way, underline that, you can soon leave the employ of the Steel Trust. You can buy a farm and from 10 to 40 acres, a farm from 10 to 40 acres, and engage in business as a producer of foodstuffs. There's great opportunity at this time for men and women who live upon small tracts of land and cultivate the same intensively. Such men, such women, such individuals will certainly get rich. Now, you might say that it is impossible for you to get land. Oh, but how can I do that? I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the resources. Well, he goes further with this by saying, but I'm going to prove to you that it is not impossible and that you can get certainly, and you can certainly get a farm if you will go to work in a certain way. I want you to all write this in your notes. Everything is impossible until it's done. There's lots of evidence around you right now of things that people thought were impossible. Just us being able to stream here live in this call. Not too long ago, this was, just an idea that was something that was fancy. Oh, yeah, sure, not in my lifetime. And I want you to notice how normal it is right now. And there's lots of that around you. There's evidence of people doing things in a certain way, which came from thinking in a certain way, which is another chapter. Now, again, grab onto this. This is important for you. But before we proceed, for those of you who are watching this live stream, who would love to tap into the rest of these calls live or even watch the replays, which are fantastic, then do yourself a favor and go to elevitality.com and register for Mastermind. You'll thank yourself later.